So we are all here. I'm gonna do a little bit of reading off teleprompter right now because sometimes when I speak at these events, I get nervous and I talk really fast and I ramble and I mumble. So bear with me for a second while I read off the teleprompter. Um, so thank you all for being here. Like I mentioned, this is the new 2026 Acoustic Guitar Teaching Artists. I'm Joey Lusterman. I'm the creative director at Acoustic Guitar Magazine. Like I said, I'm reading from a script here because I get a little nervous and talk too quickly. So um, here we go. Over the years, I've helped produce magazines, books, instructional video, live performances, and all sorts of cool things with Acoustic Guitar Magazine, all with the goal of connecting acoustic guitar teachers and artists with this large community of acoustic guitar players. Last year, we launched the Teaching Artist series as a way to focus in on that connection. We've invited 5 guitarists from varying backgrounds with different areas of expertise and experience, and we've asked them to share their unique insights on guitar and music and just playing guitar in general. So the next 12 months with these 5 teaching artists are going to be full of lots of wisdom and inspiring lessons and performances and conversations. So without further ado, let's meet the new cohort, the new cohort of teaching artists in alphabetical order by last name. Jackson Emmer, say hello, please.
Hello, I'm unmuted now. I'm happy
Cool.
to be here. Thanks for
Um,
having me.
yeah, let's start by just Jackson. Just tell us a little bit about how you got started playing guitar, if you don't mind.
I got started playing guitar when I heard a Jimi Hendrix recording get played at an all school meeting in middle school. And I was out in this field and it came blasting through the speakers and it was Purple Haze. And I remember it like it was yesterday because I'd never heard music like that before. There was nothing like that in my house. And so I didn't like even know it was a guitar. I just started asking people like, "What is this? What's going on?" And they were like, "It's Jimi Hendrix. You've been under a rock, man. Like, what's going on?" So I started saving up, and I bought a little electric guitar from Guitar Center, and I went and practiced in my friend's garage. And they played more than me, so just anybody I ran into for years, I just asked them for like a 5 minute lesson if they seemed to know anything about guitar, and that's pretty much how I got started.
Great. Well, we'll dive more into that later. But next, Elsie, if you could introduce yourself and tell people where you're calling in from and how you got started on guitar.
Hi, so I'm Elsie Franklin. Nice to meet you all. I'm in London, England right now, so it's the opposite time of day here. I have actually just realised that there might not be much light coming through this window very soon, so I might have to think about that soon. I started playing guitar. To be honest, my dad is a musician, guitar player, so it was quite an easy move for me. But from a very early age, I was just obsessed with music, all sorts of music, all different types. So I think what drew me to the guitar in particular was I really wanted to sing the songs and be able to accompany myself. So along with a lot of other influences, which I'm sure I'll get into later, that was the main thing for me. I just wanted to be able to um, make my own music and sing my own songs. So yeah.
Great. All right, Janet, you're up. If you could introduce yourself and tell us about your journey to the guitar.
Yes, so can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So I was born in California, and then at a very young age, my mom took us to Mexico, where both my parents are from. And her family is a huge family of musicians. So fortunately, also I grew up in a musical environment from a young age, and I grew up listening to my grandfather play this style from Cuba. Actually, it's called bolero music, but it's really popular in Mexico, and it's very guitar heavy oriented. They call it requinto, and it's like just like a regular guitar, but a little smaller and with higher um, pitch. And my grandfather was just shredding every morning. I would wake up and see him practice his scales and crazy. And I would ask him like, okay, when I started playing guitar later on, around 13, Of course, everybody was excited to throw chords and all their knowledge. But my grandfather, I think he was one of the main, my first teachers. And he taught me in a way that was very intuitive to him because even though he played so many things, he didn't quite know what he was doing. And so I started like that, really, just kind of just going by ear. And of course, I fell in love with a guitar. And coming back to California, I decided I wanted to pursue it professionally. So I did classical guitar. And however, I was exploring composition already before that because of my background in just kind of going with the flow on the guitar. I got good fundamentals with the classical guitar, but I already knew that I just kind of wanted to do my own thing at some point. And so I discovered players like Kaki King, Andy McKee, and kind of this doing this like modern, more like a little bit more experimental genre. And so I knew that that was gonna be my thing for the rest of my life. But yeah, that's how I got into guitar.
Great. Well, I'm sure we'll talk more about that soon, but now let's move to Morgan and say hi and tell people about your early days of guitar playing.
Hi, everybody. I'm Morgan Harris. I live here in Portland, Oregon. Um, I all the time. My dad plays guitar, so all the time I was like growing up, I was hearing him, and um, he was really into a lot of kind of 70s folk kind of stuff, some Joni Mitchell, some Neil Young, that kind of thing. Um, so yeah, there was always guitar music around me, and always the guitar sitting there on the stand, just kind of like in the background, kind of planting its seeds in my psyche. Um, and yeah, I think at some point, maybe when I was about 10, I tried to learn and got frustrated and bounced off it. And then a couple of years later, I tried again and it stuck.
And you play mostly traditional music, is that right? How did you get into that?
Yeah, it's kind of been a long walk into that. When I first started playing, it was kind of a tug of war between acoustic guitar and the kind of stuff that my dad was teaching me, and some more kind of folk Americana kinds of things. And then on the other hand, electric guitar and Blink 182 and Green Day and The Offspring. And so it was a sustained battle, but eventually acoustic guitar and various kinds of folk music won out. And I've just, yeah, ever since then, I've just gone narrower and more specialized. And now I play, yeah, specifically a lot of old time music, American fiddle and banjo music.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. And now we've come to the R of the alphabet. Greg Ruby, you can introduce yourself.
Arr. Hey everyone, I'm Greg Ruby. I'm piping in here today from Ridgewood, Queens neighborhood of New York. And let's see, my guitar journey started when I heard, actually it was the Beatles cartoon. I don't know if you remember, there was this weird, really bizarre cartoon, and it was on occasionally, I don't even remember when it was, and I was like, that's amazing, I want to do that. And so I think my mom had a guitar around the house. I was age 4 at the time. So I just made sounds on it. And then I decided to imagine it was a diving board, and I actually split it in half. So my first guitar performance was a performance art piece of destroying a guitar. But my parents were like, there's no guitar teacher here, so why don't you play piano? Which I graciously suffered through for 10 years, but it kind of gave me a background of music, and all the while seeking, eventually kind of finding my place when all my friends and I sort of made this migration from skateboarding into, starting a band. And it was like, Wayward Youth is a powerful thing. And so we just started bands and playing tunes at the time, anywhere from like REM to U2 to the Ventures to the Velvet Underground to Jimi Hendrix to just kind of whatever we could put together. My early guitar teacher was my cousin who had lived in LA from I grew up in rural Western Pennsylvania, and he had spent basically the entire 1970s as a rock guitar player in Los Angeles. And so by the time he kind of came back to recover from that in Western Pennsylvania, he had a wealth of knowledge. And what always impressed me was his ability to kind of listen to a recording and without touching an instrument, like figuring out what was happening and being able to kind of transcribe on the spot. And that was like magic to me. Like all of a sudden it wasn't just this, like you're playing an instrument or receiving instruction. There's something else of how this whole thing was put together, but it was still very elusive. And so I kind of continued to want along my wayward musical pursuits with my friends up until like my early 20s. And then I heard some recordings of Django Reinhardt, Stefan Grappelli, and the Quintet of the Hot Club of France, as well as guitarist Oscar Aleman. And that kind of focused everything into this like one. There was an earthiness, there was a sophistication, there was a passion, but there was also the acoustic guitar was front and center as a lead voice and instrument. And that, well, yeah, there went the next 30 years. So here I am.
Great. Well, thanks again, everybody, for being here. And I want to take a minute and thank the audience for being here. And I meant to say this up top, but I forgot. If you have questions for the teaching artists, you can put them in the chat below. If you just want to say hi and make sure that you're seen and heard, you can do that too. I saw a couple people saying hello in there, and I really appreciate that. So any questions, comments, concerns, you can put them in the chat. And just a little bit more about the Teaching Artist series. So every Wednesday for the next year, you'll get a video lesson from one of these 5 teachers, usually with tab and notation, sometimes just the video and text, but lots of great stuff to look forward to diving into. And speaking of teaching, my next question for everybody is teaching related. And we're going to go alphabetical again. So Jackson, sorry to put you on the spot, but
I love it. I love it.
Do you have either, I want to kind of explore everybody's teaching personas or teaching points of view and vibe as a teacher. So do you have like either something you find yourself repeating to students a lot that applies to everybody, or do you have like a specific lesson memory of giving a lesson that an interesting anecdote around teaching a lesson?
The main thing that came to mind as you kind of teed me up there was that like I had 2 really incredible music teachers that I feel lucky to have run into. My high school music teacher, George Weber, who I'm still tight with, and then John Kirk in Vermont, where I went to college. These were guys who really instilled in me that like music is in everybody, and that human beings are just kind of, they're musical. And so like I believe that anyone can play if they want to, and anyone can learn this stuff. And also that it's kind of like another language. So it just takes some time to develop that language if you don't start as a kid, but that we're kind of pre-wired to do this. And so I come at it from just kind of sharing that language and trying to develop it in people that, again, I think are just mostly primed for it. So that's kind of how I think about this stuff. And also, I guess, like, what are other things I'm telling people to do? I tell people to play too many instruments. Like there was a time, I can't do this anymore, but I think I played like 9 or 12 different instruments. Pretty poor to mid. But I think that playing a lot of instruments, like they all inform one another. And so if you're working on guitar, playing banjo, playing fiddle, playing mandolin, singing, it all feeds into the funnel of the musical side of yourself. And so I'm into that, and I try to encourage that in people.
Great. Okay, I'm looking at my alphabetical order list here again. Elsie, do you have a specific memory of teaching guitar, or do you have a mantra or ethos around guitar teaching you can share?
Well, I will probably mention my dad a lot during this when I talk about my guitar journey. But yeah, so I was taught by my dad first, and he's I know I'm a bit biased, but he's a very good guitar teacher. So I also learned about teaching from him. So I was quite, how old was I when I started like teaching? It wasn't that long ago, and I would sort of get tips from him. Like I started with one-on-one pupils, and I'd sort of be like, okay, well, I've got this pupil that sort of knows how to do this, and they want to progress with this, and he'd be really helpful with giving me tips on how to help them progress. The way I learned was I had songs I wanted to play. So I started by learning songs, and then as I started playing guitar more, I sort of looked into the theory more. And I think some people do it the other way around, and I think both ways are great. But when I teach, I like to sort of give people something that they go away and they can play something. Do you know what I mean? And then you can sort of look into what you're doing and how you're doing it and how to make it better afterwards. But I think the most important thing when you're learning an instrument is to get playing, you know, to feel like you're making something. So yeah, I guess that's kind of how I approach it. But again, it's just one way. So
Do you happen to remember what the first song your dad taught you was?
well, when I was younger, the thing that really made me want to play guitar was Gillian Welsh. I really loved Gillian Welsh. So I think one of the first songs I learnt to play was Red Clay Halo by Gillian Welsh. So yeah, because at the time, obviously I didn't learn exactly what she was doing, but I mean it's G, D, C, which was quite easy to teach a 10-year-old kid. And I was able to play it and sing along with it. So that really, yeah, that was one of the first songs anyway.
Great, thanks. Morgan, how about you? Do you have specific guitar teaching moment from here you want to share?
Yeah. Um, I mean, I don't know if there's a particular moment, but I one thing that I really get out of teaching is I don't know the longer you've been playing and the more deep you get into music, it can be so easy to just kind of this all the stuff that you learned before and that was so hard won on on your journey can sort of fade into the background a little bit and feel like a little bit trivial because I've got that like I can do that with my eyes closed and without thinking and but it's just teaching is such a good opportunity for me to kind of rediscover or just appreciate how momentous it can be able to play a chord on a guitar or to like understand how a scale works or pull off some lick that you've been like dreaming about playing. It's just a good way to kind of get inside that feeling and really kind of appreciate all aspects of playing and not just kind of whatever obscure thing it is that I'm like laser focused on right now.
Cool. Yeah, there's that old saying of like when you teach something, you've learned it twice. I think that not to put words into your mouth, but there's it's rewarding to teach as much as it is to learn. And I know that I talked to a lot of guitar teachers in my tenure here, and there's this echoes of like there's always more to learn, and there's always ways of approaching things that you think you know, and kind of like getting them more dialed in and found a part of the foundation and connecting things.
Yeah. And then I guess when I'm teaching, I had some lessons for maybe a couple of years when I was a teenager, but most of the rest of my journey I've been self-taught. And the one thing that has been, I think, more important than anything else is just being curious about music, like just constantly being able to constantly hearing things and just not being able to rest until I could figure out what was going on and like why it sounded like that and how it was put together. So yeah, I think a lot of my goal when I'm teaching is to try and pass on that curiosity and because I think that's going to be one of the things that really helps you grow as a musician when you're kind of you won't just leave it at, oh, I don't know. You'll like it can become very addictive to once you start down that path.
Yeah, but it's a good addiction, learning.
Yeah.
Janet, can you share what got you into teaching or what you enjoy about sharing? Let's get you unmuted here.
Yeah, I started teaching actually quite early on. So I started learning guitar, picking up the guitar at 13, but I went full on. And by 15, I remember I was already teaching guitar here in California. And along with my brother, we had these big groups of people interested in music at our church. And so, yeah, fortunately, it was very inspiring and motivating because, well, still, and even now I'm still learning, no? And that's the beautiful thing about it, that there is never an end. But I felt like having only 2 years of playing guitar and then having just so many people very energized and very excited about learning guitar for the first time was amazing. And so yeah, I really enjoyed teaching. I was learning, my music theory and teaching it, as I learned. And that's something that doesn't happen anymore because I still keep getting quite people that really don't have much experience with music at all. And but it kind of reminds me of those days, and I love that because it's a reminder of how we all start, and we kind of start with just kind of a lot of curiosity, and we don't really know how the journey is, how huge it is. And I like to remember that always, that no matter how advanced I would say I get, I should always stay with that kind of amateur mentality of like there is always more to learn. Um, and yeah, just having like absolute beginners is like almost my favorite people to teach, because it's like, oh, I love this energy, of like I have no idea what I'm doing, and and I look forward to what is there to discover, no. So yeah, and lately I've been actually teaching outside of guitar, which I'm really enjoying it as well. Teaching piano and teaching recording arts, for example, and also music therapy. All of these things have opened up new possibilities, no, in music, and I love that I can always connect music with other other things, and even if I don't have a guitar with me, there is that love of music there, and yeah, so I'm excited for what's happening now. But yeah, of course, guitar is my first love, and anytime I get someone saying like, "Oh, what is that technique that you played?" or anything guitar related, of course, it's like it feels like home. So yeah, I love the acoustic guitar.
Great, thank you. Over to Greg. Can you tell us about your teaching experiences?
Sure. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I found that since I was learning to play the guitar, I was also teaching. Initially, very intuitively, like I would have a song that I learned, and I'd want to teach my friend to play a bass part or something, and I would be like, "You have to learn to play bass. Come on, you can do this." And sometimes maybe against their own will or whatever, but. I always found that just there was like, it's almost like teaching and piecing together these musical experiences. It just kind of went hand in hand for me. But I would say I didn't start formally teaching until I was in music school, and there was a work-study job for this drive-by piano teaching company of all things. I say drive-by because I had to drive to people's homes and teach the kids, so don't get the wrong idea there. And with it was really about like teaching kids the absolute fundamentals on piano, and there was something about bringing it to like this simplest element of like following an instruction to playing a note at a certain time. And it kind of just helped me like construct and understand the importance of like rhythm and technique and kind of all the stuff that we do all the time, but being not on like my primary instrument, but one that I knew about, and working like initially with kids, it just gave this understanding that has evolved over the years with my own musical growth of just, you know, instilling. I think part of it is the inspiration of like what brings us to the instrument. So as a teacher, I'm always trying to be like, what inspires you? What are you into? How can we find a place where you can meet that experience and grow from there? And often that brings it into like the peeling away of the layers of like understanding rhythm. If someone's way into an Oscar Aleman piece, like they're gonna have to deal with syncopation and learning how to play on the offbeat, and you know, returning to those foundations of like harmony. How do these elements of music, like how do chords work together? Why do they work together? What are these dominant chords doing? How? But also always thinking of it, you know, I compose a lot, so there's also just that like the excitement of creativity involved in the whole thing, where it's like, yes, these are elements that are kind of set and established, but they're malleable. They're things that we can use to sort of seek our own moods or our own emotions, our own feelings, returning to that place of just like how we feel human or more human, or return to our humanity when we pick up a guitar and make music. And I think the other thing, I feel fortunate I had time to make notes. Sorry, Jackson. Is just like really, you know, trying to break things down into like digestible pieces and just returning to those foundations, while like, you know, looking to build the skyscraper, whatever that might be. It's always about like going back down into that foundation and being like time, harmony, technique, tone, just these very fundamental things. And kind of once it starts to get set, then it's like, all right, let's run back up the tower and see what we can like create in that space. So yeah, I've always found it to be equally inspiring to teach and to play. And I think throughout that is just this like, you know, we're all beginning again and again and again. And so it's just a continuous journey in that way. Yeah. Thanks, Joey.
Great, thanks. I think we'll put you on the spot next time so you can't take any notes. But thank you for that thoughtful response. And speaking of playing music, you know, we're 30 minutes into this meeting. I think it's time to play some music. So I'm going to ask everybody, we'll go around the horn again. Jackson, you're up first, to play a song. And if you could also tell us what guitar you're playing before you play your song.
Yeah, sure. Let me turn this down and I'm going to play a song I wrote with my friend John Lilly called Dreamers and Fools. It's a waltz in C sharp for those of you playing along. And this guitar, I just got this on like a trade deal, which was amazing for me. So I'm still getting to know it, but it's a 20-year-old Collings CJ, kind of like their J45 style guitar. It's got mahogany back and sides, which if you know, for all you guitar nerds out there, I have very strong opinions about mahogany. I'm a mahogany devotee. And anyway, I'll play a song for you. Thanks for having me. She plays the guitar, writes her own songs. Kids and her girlfriends, they all sing along. She'll be on the Opry before very long. Thank God for dreamers and fools. Thank God for dreamers and fools like you and me, hopeless romantics. Wild I don't wanna be, taking their chances, breaking the rules. Thank God for dreamers and fools. For 35 years he had managed the store. Then he got fired, then got a divorce. Now he's moving to Fiji and buying a horse. Thank God for dreamers and fools. Thank God for dreamers and fools like you and me, hopeless romantics. Wild-eyed wannabes, taking their chances, breaking the rules. Thank God for dreamers and fools. Breakdown section. And he was a dachshund and she a Great Dane. How they will manage is hard to explain. But where there's a will, there's always a way. Thank God for dreamers and fools. Thank God for dreamers and fools like you and me, hopeless romantics. Wild-eyed wannabes, taking their chances, breaking the rules. Thank God for dreamers and fools. Thank God for dreamers and fools. Thank God for dreamers and fools. Thank you, friends.
Thunderous applause from the muted masses. That was awesome. Thank you for playing.
Thanks, Joey.
All right, up next we've got Elsie. You want to get unmuted and play a tune for us?
Okay, hello. I
And
really
tell us
wanted
what
to
guitar you have as well.
do a little woo, but is one person clapping worse than no one clapping? Like, but I'm sure everyone wanted to. Anyway, so I'm playing a steel resonator, and it's a national. And talking about when I should have probably said this earlier, getting into guitar playing. Two of my biggest influences were Del Rey and Steve James, who I have a picture of here. My dear friend Steve James, who taught me a lot about guitar playing. But the reason I bring that up is they both had national guitars. And Del Rey, who is my absolute hero, had a shiny national resonator guitar. And I just always viewed that as, I want to be like Del Rey. I want to have her guitar. So when I first started playing guitar, my dad said, if you learn how to pick real good, I'll get you a national guitar, but you have to get really good. So I'm going to play you the first song I learned on my first resonator guitar, which wasn't this one. I got this one a bit later on, but this is a song I got from a Del Rey teaching DVD, and it's a song by Memphis Minnie. I play a lot of Memphis Minnie, another hero of mine. And yeah, someone's just saying they want to be Del Rey too. Agreed. Del Rey just has this fabulous arrangement of this song. It's called Nothing and Rambling. and it's still one of my proudest songs that I learnt to play because it has 3 different types of bass line in it. And in one of my videos I've done for you guys is a little tutorial on different kinds of bass lines you can use in your songs. So I hope I'm in tune enough. Right, okay, Nothing in Rambling by Memphis Minnie.
That was great. Great. Saw lots of people's heads bobbing along with the music. So always a good sign. Up next, thank you again. That was really great. We're gonna have Morgan. Morgan, if you can get unmuted here. Okay, I think you're coming in now. And just tell us what guitar you're playing. And
Yeah.
on it.
Elsie, that was so great. This is a Martin custom shop that I found in a guitar store. It was a vintage guitar store in Philadelphia by the name of Vintage Instruments, and they had a problem with a bunch of people coming in and playing their old Martins, or they're like 20s and 30s and 40s Martins, and loving them and not being able to afford them, and had the idea to order some guitars in from the Martin custom shop that were basically modern attempts at kind of a similar style of guitar. So this kind of small body, slotted headstock, minimal binding, minimal finish kind of things. So this one was made in 2015, but it's kind of a echo of those older models. Essentially, it's basic kind of D18 specs, spruce and mahogany. And I'm going to play for you a lot of what I do is playing these fiddle and banjo tunes, but with flat picking on guitar. And the one I'm going to play for you right now, I recorded on my last solo record. It's called Old Sage Friend, and it comes from a black string band trio from Tennessee by the name of Gribble, Lusk, and York. They were recorded in the 40s and again in the 60s. Make sure you can see what I'm doing here. Okay.
Beautiful. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, there we have a self-described old folkie from Michigan who says Magnificent Morgan. I made up the Michigan part. The old folkie says Magnificent Morgan. Sorry. Thank you. All right. Up next, we've got Janet. You're ready to play.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see the guitar.
No, your camera's kind of following you
Okay, so
around.
it's very close. Okay, let me fix this. That was amazing, Morgan. Thank you. I feel like I want to learn from all of you and jam as well, like in person, hopefully.
There's a setting on your camera that's like following you. It's like
Yeah,
zooming in. I don't know how to turn it off. If you
yeah, no, me
go,
neither.
oh,
But
somebody did this the other day.
maybe no. It doesn't want to show the guitar.
Well,
Uh,
we can, yeah, maybe just play and we'll kind of deal with the camera.
okay, that's gonna be fun. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna play this tune since I was talking about my inspiration about my students, um, especially the beginner ones, inspiring me to keep going, to keep learning, and keeping that spirit of an amateur. I wrote a song about this, and I called it Amateur Spirit. And so, yeah, this is Amateur Spirit. Is it sound okay?
Yeah, that comes through. silent clappers in the room.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really, really nice.
Thank you.
The name of that song again?
Amateur Spirit.
Ah, awesome. Thank you. So next we're gonna hear from Greg. Oops, sorry, I muted you.
Beautiful music, everyone. This has been such a pleasant afternoon here, getting to listen to everyone play. So here we'll go. Let me see a little more of the guitar. All right, so
tell us what guitar you've got there.
Yes, this is a 1932 Epiphone Master-Built Deluxe. I got it a bunch of years ago. I've always kind of, horse traded my way up with instruments. I think the first arch top I got, I traded a broken down Volkswagen van for many years ago, and would always, as soon as there was another instrument, I would be like, okay, I think I can buy that, but I have to get rid of this first. And it just sort of evolved. This guitar for me is interesting because I actually played it here in New York long before I moved here. A friend had it, and then it had gotten sold to a friend of mine in LA, and I was living in Seattle, and it was up for sale, and it just sort of all lined up. But then once I had it, I like to think that either it tagged along with me here to New York, or I tagged along with it. But I think it was destined to come back. Built in Long Island City here, and it's just a lovely arch top, which suits the style, and I think you'll get to hear this on many of the upcoming videos throughout the year. So I'm going to play, one of my favorite guitar players is a guitarist, Eddie Lang, considered the godfather of jazz guitar by many means. And he played a piece that was a standard called A Little Love, A Little Kiss, and it's a solo piece that I learned a few years ago. So, all right, A Little Love, A Little Kiss.
All right.
Thank
More
you.
silent applause. And Dave says, very cool.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks everybody for playing. That was so much good music there. I'm just going to bring everybody back into the fold here. We're running out of time. We have ran out of time. It's 12 o'clock exactly. But thank you all for being here. And like I mentioned up front, and now you can hear it for yourself, that these 5 teaching artists, come from a variety of different areas of interest on the guitar and have so much to share, as you can hear and see. And I'm really looking forward to all the lessons that are coming out, and all the other live events like this that we'll be doing together over the year. And it's going to be great. And I had a lot more planned, but we are out of time. So thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey.
Thank y'all for having me. So
Thanks
cool.
for everyone for coming.
Yeah, so
It was
April
great to hear everyone play, I just want to say.
Likewise.
Yeah, so much great music.
Ditto.
From the comments we've got, this was such fun, interesting year ahead. Thank you, so much enjoyment, so much talent. Thank you. Agreed with all that. So much talent, so much wisdom of the guitar. And Daniel, the schedule we'll have, starting on Wednesday, a new lesson from one of these 5 every Wednesday for the rest of the year. And then we'll be posting about the next roundtable live events as they are scheduled. There's like 4, I want to say, in the upcoming year. Plus open mic nights featuring the teaching artists and you, the community, where you can play too. And I'll add the spotlight on you and ask you to turn on original sound for musicians. So that's always fun. And we'll also be hearing from the teachers. They're going to be writing some essays, sharing some of their thoughts about music and creativity and guitar and everything else that's going on with them. So a lot of fun, a lot to do in the next year. It's 12:01 now, so I gotta go. But thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye.